If we can break free from the matrix of impatience, I truly believe anything is possible. Welcome back, sweet, beautiful souls. I am so excited for today's episode. I truly believe that this one is going to be of so much value. And this is something that has been showing up for me, my clients, and even just this weekend at a conference that I spoke at. And so I know that I have to share about it here and with you all. So just to set the stage, this weekend I spoke at the Mind Body Spirit Expo, and it was so beautiful, so fun to connect with so many beautiful like-minded souls and also speak, which I haven't done for a few years now, since before all the craziness. And it reminded me how much I love in-person speaking, connecting. It's so important. But anyways, at this expo, I went around to the booths. I also had a booth, and so as I took a break and went around and connected with some of the other people, I connected with this man, and he had a card, like an oracle deck of emotions. And so he offers me to draw a card. Of course, I take him up on it, and I draw a card. You want to know what that card was? It's like, I think you said 60 different emotions. The card that I draw is patience. Patience. Now, I believe, so, okay, no, before I get to that, I was also texting with a client that we recently did a session, and it occurred to me to say to her as we were texting, you're going to want to wait. So she was telling me her plan. If this doesn't work, then, and right when I hear that, I'm like, oh, first of all, why are we energizing that this might not work? Secondly, patience, patience. And I said that to her. I said, patience. She said, that is the biggest thing that I'm working through in this life. And I said, what if all of this is an opportunity? We're dealing with stuff with her health. I said, what if all of this is actually an opportunity to lead you back to patience? To lead you back to trusting, to lead you to be able to trust in God, source, universe, divine. What if all of this was an opportunity for that? And I want to begin and preface with, I believe that impatience is the collective consciousness. It is the collective consciousness, and it is very easy. It's very easy to be impatient in a world where we can have things like that. You want your food hot? Microwave it. Like, even microwaving is, I feel like I read or heard something like the longest 30 seconds is a microwave 30 seconds, which, side note, I don't recommend microwave. I actually have a piece of, I should just learn how to unplug mine. I have a piece of like a sticky note over my microwave time so that it doesn't emit any blue light. And yeah, I don't use it. I have not used it in years. Anyways, this is my mind sometimes, you guys. Lots of tangents to go off on. But the collective consciousness of impatience, it is so pervasive. It is so pervasive. And if you are not experiencing impatience, you are most likely living on a mountaintop in the Himalayas with no problems. Because I believe that it is just so, it's our world now. It is our world. It is our world to have things fast. And this isn't to say that we can't move quickly. This isn't to say that the universe doesn't deliver quickly, but we can get too caught up in the timeline of things when we're placing too much energy and expectation on the universe to deliver something right here, right now, and we're actually pushing that which we desire away. And what I find very fascinating about this is I believe that we're actually doing a lot of this out of seeking security, comfort, and safety. I believe that these are also human drives to want to be safe, secure, to have stability. But as we all know, the only constant is change. And if we're not growing and changing, we are not evolving and really living. And with this comes needing to trust. Patience is trust. That is what it is. Patience is trust. Plain and simple. So why do we struggle with it so much? Well, like I've shared, first of all, I believe it is a collective consciousness that is very easy to pick up on. It's very easy when we can have things delivered to us. We can go on Netflix, and I also don't have Netflix, so these are really bad examples for me, um but we can have all of these things delivered to us. We can punch in whatever and have it at our doorstep. We can um have it on our screen. We can, oh my gosh, like Amazon 2-day delivery, like that was not a thing when I was growing up. Like, right, we can have things very fast. We can have things very fast. And so it becomes very difficult to wait. And when I say wait and having patience, I am talking about every area in your life, your business, your health, your relationships, your growth, your purpose, your evolution, your healing, all of these things, and anything I didn't name that is specific to you. Patience is actually, I believe, the key to receiving them. I know for myself, oh my goodness, so often. And, I really believe that that is why we have such a profitable healthcare system. People don't want to wait for their body to heal. And that was a really big struggle for me, was waiting for my body to heal, because I'm sure many of you listening to this are on the holistic, you're into health and wellness. I know that. And you're probably trying to do things not the mainstream way. It takes longer, right? Like, well, why would we wait longer when we could just go and pop a pharmaceutical, pop a pill, and have it gone, right? The body takes time. But I believe we will pay that time back. I really, really do. I believe that if we take the shortcut and suppress, because that's what so many of these things do, again, unpopular opinion, please don't come off of, this is not medical advice, do not come off of any of your medications without consulting your healthcare practitioner or provider. This is for entertainment purposes only. And I say this though because it's easier, and I've been there. I've been in pain. I've had the symptoms not going away, and I felt like I just wanted to give up and just take the steroid cream or take the pharmaceutical drug or take the whatever it was, antibiotic, or take the antidepressant for not even depression, for the pain. Like, I get it. And doing the natural methods take longer. It's just how it is, because we have to signal to our body that, hey, body, like, you're going to do this now. You're going to do this. And so some things have to happen and fall into place for this to work, for the body to fall back into homeostasis. Oh, I've said this so many times, we are a whole ecosystem. So many things, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the kidneys, hypothalamus, the pituitary, the vagus nerve, all, and like these are just naming like one millionth of a fraction of the different things in our body. They all communicate to each other. And so when we impact one, we're impacting another. And so it can take a little while for things to fall. Like maybe you're just working on your gut, but it's like doing that, you're going to have to also address the vagus nerve and the neurotransmitters in your head, because they have been sending the signals to your gut for however many days, weeks, months, or years that IBS, constipation, bloating, diarrhea, whatever it is normal. And so for myself, I saw like it would be so much easier to just take a pill, to just do all of these things, but I've chosen to be patient with my body, and I'm still having to exercise patience at times with my body. Oh my goodness, especially in this wild time of retrogrades and all of these things happening, right? Like our bodies are doing crazy things. And so it's like, how can we exercise patience with our bodies? How can we exercise patience with our partner? How can we exercise patience with our business? How can we exercise patience with our purpose? Because we don't really have just one. It's always growing and expanding and evolving. How can we have patience with this current iteration and the next step of it? How can we have patience when we don't have the money we desire yet? How can we have patience when we don't have the relationship we want yet? How can we have patience when we don't have whatever it is we're calling in our life? And so here is another beautiful, incredible synchronicity. I received the download to do this today, and as I was like writing down some notes that I wanted to touch upon, I had the ping to look at gene keys, which you guys know if you've been around here for a little while. I love gene keys. It has been so transformative and illuminating for me in my life. And so I had this like it's not in my chart, which if you're not into gene keys or familiar with it, just go to genekeys.com and you can get your free profile. I also offer readings if that is something of interest to you. But I decided to look at gene keys because while it is not in my chart, I know I was like remembering there is a gene key for patience and impatience. And so get this, this is absolutely wild. I go and I start looking up gene keys. And yes, it is gene key 5, which I'm going to read you some excerpts from it. But I'm not reading you excerpts from the book. Well, they are from the book, but I'm reading you excerpts from literally because I remember learning about this key. And what I do is I actually don't have the physical book. I have the audiobook. And if you are a long time listener, you know my drives to the coast, to nature, to the forest. I love listening to gene keys. I will take notes on my phone of the keys because I have so many insights, downloads, realizations while I'm listening to them. And I'll also just write down excerpts from the book. And I remember listening and learning about gene key 5. So I decided to go to the notes in my phone. Are you ready for this? As I go to the notes in my phone to look up, I just type in search gene key 5. You should see my notes app. It is wild. I have so many notes, so many notes. Just the channel is I gotta record the things because my channel is always flowing. And so I searched gene key 5 in my notes. Exactly 1 year ago to the day I opened up gene key 5. How wild is that? How wild is that? And I remember as I started reading through my notes, driving to the forest, or no, I was actually driving to the gorge. I remember I was driving to a hike in the gorge and having the most profound realizations and downloads because I was like, this is the collective consciousness we are in. Impatience. So if you're not familiar as well, every single gene key has a shadow, a gift, and a siddhi. And when I say siddhi, I mean siddhi. It is the enlightened state. So every gene key has these three states of consciousness. There are many states in between, but these are the three. The goal is to live at the gift or the siddhi, and to learn the lessons from the shadow. Okay. And for this gene key 5, the shadow is impatience, the gift is patience, and the siddhi is timelessness. And so again, this was not on my chart, but I asked Spirit to show me a gene key that I was meant to learn and receive that day, and this was it. And I so often find these gene keys, they play out in our everyday life. We have all of them within us. It's just the ones in our chart are more relevant for like our purpose and our evolution and all of these things. So I'm going to read you a few things that I wrote down in my notes that were excerpts from the gene keys. So the first one being, the more aware you become of your impatience and restlessness, the more you sink in to your true center. So this is from the shadow. The more aware you become of your impatience and restlessness, the more you sink into your true center. The deeper you enter into your fears, the more patient you become. Oh my goodness. The deeper you enter into your fears, the more patient you become. So, are we really impatient? Or are we just scared? Is it just fear? So much. I'm telling you, Gene Keys is like a transmission. If you ever just listen or read, you will know what I'm talking about. And so what I realized also in listening to this 1 year ago and rereading it again, so every shadow has a repressive and a reactive nature. And I realized that as a society, we were living in the repressive nature. The repressive nature for this is pessimistic. And he says pessimism is rooted in impatience. And the only thing that can break through this is a crisis of some sort. I wonder what's happening on a collective level in our society the past few years. It's like the universe is signaling to us, you're ready for this next level, but in order to do that, here is a crisis so you can overcome this impatience, to go into your fears, to look at the shadows so that you may transcend them. So then, as we move into patience, this is what I wrote in my notes, that is from the book. It takes practice to learn patience, as with all things in our life, right? Practice makes perfect. Or no, I don't agree with that. There's a better saying. Practice makes, they say something about that in Gene Keys, and I'm not remembering it. But the goal is not perfection, but I would say repetition is how we learn. Repetition is how we learn. And so as we practice patience, we can learn patience. They go on to say also that waiting is not patience. Waiting is not patience. Patience is your natural state, and impatience arises out of fear and conditioning. Patience is trust. And so I commented, so really, where are we not trusting God? Where are we not trusting the universe? Where are we not trusting source? I know for me, I wasn't trusting that source would heal my body, not consciously, but unconsciously. Many of these things are unconscious because, again, this is a collective consciousness. And when I say that, I mean as though it's like the frequency. It is like the dominant frequency that is woven throughout society. And depending on where you live too, like I'm sure like when you go out, you go to the store, you go online on social media, it's like woven, like this frequency is woven throughout the fabric of society. And so unless you're living like on a farm in the middle of nowhere, not watching news and TV or on social media or meditating on the top of a mountain, you're witnessing this collective consciousness. And it's, again, it's not a conscious thing we do, but we just tap into it because it's just there. It's just there. And it almost takes like willpower and practice. And again, as they say, crisis to really break free, to get out of this collective frequency that we just feel is just normal. So then they go on to say at different frequencies, time occurs differently. And I'm sure you have experienced this at some point in your life where you get in the flow, right? You get into a state where you have no idea where the time went. Where did the time go when you're with a good friend, when you're doing something you love? I think of like these artists who get into flow state. They paint for 5 hours, right? I often find this happens to me oftentimes when I'm in nature. I just get so lost and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did an hour just pass? And I was just sitting on this rock in the middle of the stream. Like, where did the time go? This is timelessness. And I think that one of the easiest, greatest ways to experience this, if you are struggling with patience, is to go out into nature, because nature is timeless. Nature is patience. Nature is the perfect example of patience. I mean, just look at a flower and how she blooms. Oh, how wild. And I was just listening to a song. I'm telling you, the synchronicities like in my life right now are just wild. I was listening to a song earlier and the lyrics were a rose blooming, I think was the song. Something like that. I listened to Equanimous on Spotify. Highly recommend. And it's like his playlist. And it was in there. And I don't remember who the song was by. It's not by him, but it says a rose blooms in its own time and not a moment too soon. The leaf falls from the tree in its own time and not a moment too soon. The wind comes, the grass grows. All of these things happen without humans forcing and facilitating. This is the flow and frequency of our earth, of our divine mother, who knows exactly what to do. Right. And so whenever I'm struggling with patience, I often go out into nature and I just ask her to show me, or I rather just bathe in her frequency. Again, sitting on a rock in the middle of the stream and just witnessing it all. And I believe that these are the types of moments that we actually gain time back. Time is the only thing we can't get back. The only thing we can't get back. We can make more money. We can't make more time. But I believe that doing things that nourish our soul actually compound, and they do bring us more time. My hope is that through listening to these messages that you learn wisdom, you receive a transmission that will give you back time. They'll help you learn your soul so that you don't need to, not that it's ever wasted, but waste time in fear and impatience and in these lower frequencies that aren't serving you. Because I believe that that is, again, there's no such thing as wasting time, I believe. But I believe that because we're going to be, when we're in the lower frequencies, we're still learning. We're still learning and growing, and they're necessary. They're necessary for finding and developing and leading us to where we want to go. But if we're stuck there and we're held there in the fear and the impatience and the anger, the resentment, the loneliness, whatever it is, if we're held there and can't break through, I believe we are not fully living. And while I don't want to say it's wasted time, it is time that we will not be ever able to get back. But time that we spend in love and joy and freedom and expansion and connection and love. These are so rich. These are so rich. And patience, our patience in these states, it's just natural. It's natural. And like I said, they say patience is our natural state. Patience is our natural state. But we learn, and we have all of these devices now and tools and things that I believe, I'm not saying they're all bad. They're not all bad. Like, I love 2-day delivery. I love it. I love getting things faster and quicker. I love being able to send an email and it's there. Doesn't, I don't have to put it in the mail and wait for someone to get it in 5 days. I can send an email, it's there. I can send a text and it's there. These are great, but it has made us impatient. It's made us impatient. And so it's a learning to harness these incredible tools, but also remembering that not everything works at this speed, nor should it, nor is it supposed to, nor would we want it to. Our soul, I don't believe your soul truly wants it to be that easy. We would live in a very different world if everything we wanted just came like that. The health, the money, the relationships. What a wild world. And we wouldn't even enjoy it. We wouldn't enjoy those things because it's part of the desire and the working towards it and the path to it, that when we are finally met with it, it is this sweet reunion with our desire, with our health, with the relationship, with the money, with the purpose, the goal, whatever it was. It is this union coming together, and it feels so much sweeter when we go through the path towards receiving it. I know that we know this to be true, but when we're not there yet, it feels very uncomfortable. It feels very uncomfortable. And I just want to read a few more things. Oh, yeah, this is good. Patience leads to an opening of your heart and a turning on of higher frequencies within your DNA. When you are impatient, you have stopped listening and trusting in the greater light. Patience allows you to never feel trapped by your outer situation. It keeps your heart and mind open and makes life seem simple and easy. Patience is the true gauge and measure of a person's soul. And so I say all of these things as simply words to unlock this patience within you. That you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Your health is exactly where it's supposed to be. Your relationship is exactly where it's supposed to be. Your finances are exactly where they're supposed to be. Your purpose, your life's work, your career, your job, it's exactly where it's supposed to be. And I know there's a next level for you. I know there's a next level for me. I know there's a next level for us as a collective. But impatience is not going to get us there. And remember, patience is not waiting. Patience is trusting. Patience is trusting that we know that God, source, the universe, the divine is going to get us there, that they are going to deliver and provide in exactly the right time and not a moment too soon or too late. That is how the universe works. It has to. It has to when we trust. It has to when we fully trust. But for so many of us, it's so hard for us to go fully there, for us to go fully in because we've been hurt in the past. We have past trauma that would maybe signal or tell us otherwise that it doesn't always work out. But those things that didn't work out, they were exactly what you needed to go through so that it could work out. All of those things in the past that didn't seem like they were working for you were exactly what you needed to get to where you want to go. It was the learning and the lessons and the overcoming that is going to get you to exactly where you want to go. It begins with trust. To trust the universe, to trust yourself that you're going to get there. Of course, you're going to get there. And I believe just listening to this, you're receiving this transmission that, of course, reminding your soul that, of course I'll get there. Of course, I'll achieve it. Of course, I'll have it. Whatever it is for you. All right. So with that, my loves, if you found this of value, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe button. Go ahead and share this with a friend. And let me know you're listening over at I am Jasmine Elise. And until next time, I am sending you all infinite love and light.